What's happening, good people? Good morning. Good morning. How we doing this morning? As you can see, I have my robe on. I'm getting hot already, believe it or not. Even though I cut all my hair off and shaved, still getting hot. Anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Open OneDrive. I want to close this, but I can't close it. Back up this document. Oh, there we go. It's closed. All right. So we're going to pick it up back here in the green. We're not going to waste any time. Well, let me get some music playing. Y'all hold tight. Let me get some music on here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I got to take this robe off. It is extremely hot. It is extremely hot. Y'all, I had a nightmare last night, man. Y'all know I've been to actual, well, I won't say I've been to war, but I've been in war several times. Iraq 3 times, Afghanistan 3 times. In the military, I've gone to Bosnia. I was in Bosnia in the army, which that was a lot easier than being a civilian in actual war. So last night I had a pretty disturbing dream. I don't have these dreams a lot, but I knew the dream was related to what I had actually been in. You know, I felt the aftershock or the reverberation of a suicide bomber. I felt that. I have felt 13 rockets. The impact that 13 rockets feel like when they land and kill people less than 2 miles away. I felt that. And the thing is, you don't realize the impact it's having on you until like years later. Anyways, I don't want to even think about that too much, because when you have those type of dreams, you can't separate reality from fiction or from whatever your mind is making up. And so you wake up in the bed and I'm looking around like, oh my God, that was, it is what it is, man. That's the price you got to pay when you want to do better for your family. And that's the reason I put myself in those situations so many times, in order to get ahead, in the name of getting ahead. Anyways, let's get into it, man. As his father sat there, head down, busy at fixing the rod, he looked up at his son and said, "I have to see how long you can be serious this time." With those words, little Jacob seemed to go into a state of deep thought. His attention went back to the dark water. The tiny sparkling crystals were still there, everywhere. Staring closer, his mind began a type of meditation. He became fixated on the water and the beauty of it all. The boy had put himself in a trance. He was wondering, what was it exactly that had nearly pulled Daddy in the pond? Was it still there in the same location? The yellow and orange float hadn't moved. It was probably the gator, the owner of the leathery. Oh my goodness, leathery. That word keeps making me trip up and stumble. Let me have a sip of coffee here, y'all. By the way, I have my coffee. I have some water right here. And I'm gonna start it over. I have some bananas downstairs, so I'll have a banana when I go back downstairs. I gotta say this as well. This is making me a better reader out loud. I know I've said that before, but it is making me a better speaker. Reading out loud is making me a better speaker, I'll say that. As his father sat there, head down, busy at fixing the rod, he looked up at his son and said, I have to see how long you can be serious this time." With those words, little Jacob seemed to go into a state of deep thought. His attention went back to the dark water. The tiny sparkling crystals were still there, everywhere. Staring closer, his mind began a type of meditation. He became fixated on the water and the beauty of it all. The boy had put himself in a trance. He was wondering, what was it exactly that had nearly pulled Daddy in the pond? Was it still there in the same location? The yellow and orange float hadn't moved. It was probably the gator, the owner of the leathery eggs they'd seen near the path, or perhaps some type of aquatic monster that terrorized fishermen and ate little boys who were too slow to run away. Watching the water was soothing to Jacob. His worries about not being serious enough in order for his father to break down and finally get him a puppy had drifted away. On a ripple, the pestering thoughts and worries had left his mind. Or maybe those thoughts had somehow transformed themselves and were now in the form of him, little, smiling Jacob sitting atop the float, a miniature Jacob sitting with his head down, chin resting on a fist. The boy was feeling different. Maybe this Jacob's mind still raced with thoughts as he sat there bobbing up and down, stranded in the middle of nowhere. In the physical, the boy's worries had faded away like a setting sun. He no longer worried about getting a puppy. There were no worries at all. As the reflection of the sun, a fragmented image of the huge fireball now danced on the dark waters, and as trees began to sway in the distance from a breeze that seemed to come from nowhere, solidified the moment. The boy did not see when his yellow and orange cork vanished. Let me go back. Y'all gotta excuse me, I cut my hair and I had the ceiling fan on last night, so I got a little something in my sinuses. Oh, I'm also wearing my t-shirt one of my kids got me. The man, it's supposed to say the man, the myth, the garden. It says the gardening, it should be the gardener. I think one of my kids made this t-shirt a while back. It's starting to peel off, but it's supposed to say the man, the myth, the gardener. But it says the man, he myth, because the T fell off. The gardening. Anyways, I'm rocking it. Alright. As the reflection of the sun, a fragmented image of the huge fireball now danced on the dark waters, and as trees began to sway in the distance from a breeze that seemed to come from nowhere, solidified the moment. Let me see something here. As the reflection of the sun, a fragmented image of the huge fireball now danced on the dark waters, and as trees began to sway in the distance from a breeze that seemed to come from nowhere, that should be solidifying, not solidified. Or it really don't need to be there at all. If you're trying to allow the reader to make his or her own determination, that part doesn't even need to be there, because this first part is solidifying the moment. You don't have to say it's solid. You don't have to say that. As a reflection of the sun, a fragmented image of the huge fireball now danced on the dark waters. I don't need to put a comma here either. And as trees began to sway in the distance from a breeze that seemed to come from nowhere, the boy did not see when his yellow and orange cork vanished. It was only when his rod leaped from his hands and on the grass that his attention, still free of worry, came rushing back. "Jake, you got something big," his father shouted. Quickly the boy left his bucket to chase the fleeing rod. "Hurry up before it goes in the water." Without delay, he moved in an attempt to stop the darting rod, stamping down hard with one foot but missing. A second try did land on the handle, but the moving rod continued to slide, causing the boy to lose his balance. He fell to the ground, tumbling, then getting to his knees, bear crawling. I should put those two together. Those two need to go together. Like I ain't from Chucktown. I'm talking like I ain't from Chalktown now. I need to holler at 50 cents. You're doing all that there, boy, in Shreveport, Louisiana. You need to holler at me, boy. 50, holler at me, 50. I'm a writer, 50. Tumbling, then getting to his knees, bear crawling like his life depended on it, he managed to lean forward in time to grab it. "Hold on, son, I'm coming," his father said before dropping his own fishing rod. That's just a rod, his own rod. "I got it, Daddy," Jacob hollered proudly. Hurrying on the scene, Henry dropped to one knee, with his arms wrapped firmly around the back of his son, lumberjack hands engulfing Jacob's. The two of them held on tightly to the rod. In the distance, the proud father saw that less than 50 feet away, and in the exact location the bait had been taken, what looked like two widely spaced eyes appear in the shimmering dark water. For only a moment, but what felt to be an eternity, everything seemed to have stopped. As they began reeling, Henry noted that the fishing line was beyond its max holding capacity. I keep saying capacity. I'm realizing now that, first of all, I'm contemplating stopping the video stuff and just doing it my normal way. No video, no music. Just coming here in the morning, early in the morning, like I am now. It's 6:41 in the morning. I've been in here. This video has been going for 12 minutes and 35 seconds now. So that'll tell you, how long I've been in here. But I actually wake up around 5 o'clock and I hit that snooze button a couple times. But anyways, I'm contemplating just stopping the videos. They're not getting a lot of views. And that's fine, because I know this is, I know unless you are someone who travels a lot, drives or fly or subway or whatever, or maybe someone who just don't mind hearing my voice, this is not going to be interesting to you. The book is going to be 1,000 times more interesting. Now, there are a few people out there, maybe more than a few, I don't know, but I know there's some people out there who do click on the video and watch the entire video. As I said earlier, I'm not the best reader. I have issues with my, the letters dancing on the screen. I have issues with my attention and all that. So reading my own material is not the easiest thing for me, especially out loud while I'm being videoed and music is playing. And I'm trying to do a little entertaining, and so I'm contemplating stopping the videos. If I stop the video, if you guys don't see any more videos come out, don't be alarmed, because best believe I'm still writing. I am still writing. You see this right here? This right here. This is the book I don't even know when I wrote the book. But this here, you see all this? I can't see it. Too much reflection, right? But this is all a book. See? This is all a book I just wrote. I won't say the title of it, but that's a book that I wrote, and I think it's going to be a great book once I type it up. But I wrote that shorthand because I can't remember. I remembered, I don't even know how it came about. I just remember writing that on the floor in my bedroom. I would come home every day and just get the pen out and just I had a story in my head, so I would write it out. That's a book. I think there's another one around here somewhere. Yeah, there's. Well, I'm writing on one right now, but there's several books in my computer right now. It's like 3 or 4 books, actual books I got to type up. So I'm a writing maniac when it comes down to it. And if you count the ones I have published already, I have about completed, because the one I just showed you, that's a rough draft, so it's completed. The story from beginning to end is done. Now that whole story may change once I type it up and look at it on the screen. But I have 4 published books, but finished maybe 7. Yeah, maybe 7 or 8. Time to lubricate the brain a little bit. A little water. Okay. Hurrying on the scene, Henry dropped to one knee with his arms wrapped firmly around the back of his son, lumberjack hands engulfing Jacob's. The two of them held on tightly to the rod. In the distance, the proud father saw that less than 50 feet away and in the exact location the bait had been taken, what looked like two widely spaced eyes appear in the shimmering dark water. For only a moment, but what felt to be an eternity, everything seemed to have stopped. As they began reeling, Henry noted that the fishing line was beyond its max holding capabilities. Suddenly, the creature began to spin furiously. Water started splashing everywhere. "It's her," said Jacob. "It's gotta be her. It's gotta be the gator." Giving a little slack on the line, the two watched hopelessly as the inevitable happened. The line snapped. With the sudden break, the bow in the pole sprung back, instantly launching the remaining line from the water. Hook, line, and sinker were all still with whatever had taken the bait. Breathing heavy and laughing after being hit with a few droplets of pond water, the two stood there staring at the calming water and the lost cause. As the day went on, young Jacob was showing much maturity. There was no more playing around, even though he ached to tell his father about what he thought it was that had snapped the two lines. Despite his longing to be his normal self, after the missed catch, while remembering his promise of good behavior, and after reacting, okay, now my mind is, y'all can tell when my mind starts trying to go to like 10 things at one time, and that's been me ever since conception, I guess. Despite this longing to be his normal self, after the missed catch, while remembering his promise of good behavior, and after reattaching new tackle to his line, he'd gone back to staring at the water. The boy found himself back out there atop the bobbing float, totally bored, now that all of the excitement had left. That very vivid imagination that some little boy possesses. All right, I gotta recollect. My mind keeps going. I don't know. My mind keeps going to other things. Like I told you guys, I had that dream last night. That nightmare. It was complete. It was absolutely a nightmare. Anyways, I gotta Anybody who's been to Afghanistan or Iraq, this is a 25-cent token. It's made of paper. So they didn't have enough change over there for us, so they gave us these things here. And if you can hear it, it's paper. It's like cardboard. And it says APHIS or APHIS 25-cent gift certificate. It's a quarter, but it's made of paper. I used to have so many of these things, and on the it's a picture of a Humvee with no doors, with 2 soldiers or 3 soldiers on it, with the Afghani mountains in the back on one side. And anyways, I just found that the other day. I used to have a whole bunch of them. But anybody who's ever been to war, man, or been to war, just been to, in an actual like combat, and going into war is 2 different things. Let's say that first of all. I've never been in combat, never fired my weapon at anybody, never got shot directly at, but I have been, like I said, suicide bomber. Suicide bomber blew himself up right outside of, maybe about 100 yards away. 100 yards away is not very far when you have like a 500-pound bomb go off. You feel that. 13 rockets, I think it was, that came in to buy up there in Baghdad. We had just gotten back from Afghanistan, my roommate and I, and we didn't have time to even take off our, we still had on our gear. And our gear, Kevlar, your flight vest, or you call it a flight vest. It's like a bulletproof vest or a frag vest or whatever. All your duffel bags. We didn't have time to even take all our stuff off. As soon as we got in, and we arrived in country to the same place the rockets had just came into and killed, like, I don't know how many people, killed a bunch of people. We had just landed and made it back to our hooch, which was, like I said, maybe 2 miles away, mile and a half. Get in the door, start taking off our stuff, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was like one after another, and those type of things that don't really affect you right then. They affect you more when you get out of that situation and you think about it. So, anyways, it's been 23 minutes. Let me finish up this section here. Where's the red at? Where's the red? Okay, I can finish this up. Anyways, let's keep going. All right. So, not long after the second gator, or whatever it was, Henry Wallace managed to catch his first fish, a small brim, throwing it back to grow seconds later. Jacob caught something similar. It was a slightly larger redbreast. As time moved by, and as thick white clouds moved in and out, the two went on to catch fish after fish. With no one else there sharing the pond, it quickly grew into a friendly competition between father and son. It had been something extra special about that day. The way the water shimmered, how the sun shined, how beams of light penetrated through some of those clouds while heating bare skin. Unlike his father, Jacob hadn't worn a hat to protect his head and face. The sun was draining the boy of his rambunctiousness, thereby aiding in the calming effect. As the day had gone by, and as he'd been superbly focused on behaving, something special happened. Maybe it had been that particular location and the time of year that had opened a portal to some other place. And yes, it might have been how deep the little boy had gone into meditation, a thing he'd never done before, but did so effortlessly that day. It was more than that, much more, a combination of things. As the great Albert Einstein once said, logic will get you from A to B, imagination will take you everywhere. All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there, but I'm gonna pick it back up in the green because I need to read through that a little bit better. I'm gonna try to focus a little bit harder tomorrow, but like I said, I had that dream last night, man, and I don't want to go into detail, but it was so realistic. And let me tell you this too. What I thought about when I woke up was what's going on in Israel and between Israel and Palestine. And I immediately, while still in bed, started praying for those people, because I cannot imagine being on high alert, thinking that you may die or your family member might die any day. I was actually talking to a Muslim friend of mine the other day in Walmart. We talked almost a damn 30 minutes, just standing there by the we were standing by the bananas, and we were talking about what's going on over there. He's Muslim, and we're trying to make sense of it all. Some things you can't make sense of, but like I told my son last night, my youngest son, you got to pray on things. If we became a praying nation, this country, like truly praying for the same things, people don't realize the power of prayer. Prayer it's amazing. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it right here. I'll pick it back up again here tomorrow. I appreciate y'all stopping by. This is Anthony L. Kelly. Till next time. Hit that like, leave a comment. I'm out.